Good morning and welcome to morning prayer on Wednesday the 8th of April. The Gospel for today is from St Mark chapter 14 verses 1 to 11. Jesus is anointed in Bethany. I wonder what it is that you miss most about this season of isolation. Is it peace and quiet? Time to yourself? Do you long for some space and time where it is you that decides how you will spend the day? Or is it face-to-face contact with loved ones? Do you miss the hurly-burly of family life before the coronavirus caused us to all stay at home in isolation from one another? Or is it human touch from an ungloved hand? This passage this morning addresses all of these issues. Imagine the scene, if you will. We are at Simon's house. He opens the door to his guests. All are welcome. He is no longer suffering from leprosy. His skin is clean. The table is set and the guests come in. They find their place and recline at the table. And in time, the food arrives. I was reminded this week that Jews recline at the table as a sign that they are no longer slaves in Egypt. Only those who are free can recline at a table. The slaves serve. Into this scene comes a woman. She is not invited, but she carries a jar, a precious jar made of alabaster, and it is carrying perfume worth a whole year's salary. Her presence is strange enough, but then she goes to Jesus. She breaks the jar. She uses all of this expensive perfume and she pours it onto Jesus' head. Just imagine it running down his face, into his beard, through his hair. The noise in the room, at the table, it stops. The perfume hangs heavy in the air. What does she think she's doing? Someone mutters. What a waste. We could have sold that and given it to the poor. Jesus looks at her with love. He knows that she knows what she is doing. This cannot wait. The right time for this anointing is now. In a week's time it will be too late. Jesus tells those who are complaining about this extravagance to be quiet. He tells them that this story, this woman's actions, will be repeated wherever the gospel is proclaimed. And he is right. Each of the 4 gospel authors have a version of this story in it. This is love in action. This is worship in action. It is doing what is right, even if the rest of the room disagrees. This is holding nothing back from Jesus. Nothing at all. So as we approach the end of this Holy Week, a Holy Week that is like no other, I wonder if you can picture yourself as a guest of Simon. He has been healed by Jesus. We are in a room filled with friends and relations. What do you see? What do you hear? Are you like the woman? Are you prepared to worship Jesus with all that you have? Are you prepared to love Jesus with all of your heart? My prayer is that this week, as we draw closer to Easter Sunday, that will be what happens after we've read this story.